everyone, today we're going to talk about this, one of my favourite things to use, which is called a puller, dog fitness tool. So for the purpose of the video, it will just be called the puller ring, because it's it's what I always call it. Now, as you can see, it's a purple ring. It's made of a rubberized type substance that is really lightweight. It's just fab. Now, what is really cool about these is they do come in pairs. I say that actually one of them doesn't, which is the next size up from this, which is a really thick, kind of heavy duty one that comes singular, but all the rest of them come in pairs, and this is the largest size of the pairs that you can get. Now, you've probably noticed the condition of these ones looks very different to these. And don't worry guys, effectively that's designed that way, it's intended, because the material that these are made for is actually quite soft. So as Pooch mouths these, plays with these, gets their teeth on them, they will start to get all these kind of little teeth marks and divots. Again, don't worry, it doesn't change the effectiveness of these. But yes, when you buy them, they do look pristine, and probably after one or two uses, they are going to look like this, but again, don't panic. So, there's lots of reasons I absolutely love these particular puller rings, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Another fab thing I love about these guys is their size and their shape. Now, I have German Shepherds, so I use these ones, which are the largest ones that come in a twin pack. There is one that is slightly bigger than this in terms of kind of the thickness of it, which is designed for some real kind of heavy bull breed type kind of mouths. They only come in single packs, but all the other ones from this size down over, all the way to ones that are like Chihuahua size, guys, they're fab. Their shape and their size allows that when you're playing these games to give you an element of safety. If you've ever played tug or anything with your Pooch, you'll probably find Pooch is really good at getting closer and closer to your hand. These, because of the shape of them, when Pooch comes and latches on, it's quite difficult for them to effectively come towards the toy and come round the side and come and try and grab it where my hand is. And I can just very quickly turn it and angle that for their mouth to go straight on. And even with some quite long kind of mouthed dogs like mine, like German Shepherds, when their mouth is fully on and their back teeth are against this, their front teeth are still a good inch or two from my hands. So it completely removes that risk of me accidentally being caught by teeth, which is often one of the reasons that games very quickly just become not very interesting for the dog. Because if you are playing a game of tug and then you accidentally get caught, the chances are you're going to make a bit of a scary noise by a yelping or a squeal or a squelch or whatever it might be. And Pooch is going to be a little bit, sorry, I didn't mean that, I didn't mean to do that. And it kind of spoils the fun of the game. Where with these, you get that nice safe distance between you and the Pooch. So you can have these games. You can be a little bit braver by offering it out to the Pooch, which you'll see very shortly with me and Betty Boo. So guys, one of the first games that I'd like you to play with Pooch, if you do happen to purchase these puller rings, is tug. So you take one of your rings, and I'm going to assume for the purpose of this that your dog already knows how to play tug. If they don't, we'll do a video to talk about how to kind of build that up in your Pooch. But initially, if your dog is used to playing tug, excellent, that's great. But there's a few things that we want to consider when we're playing tug, but there's one golden rule that I always want you to adhere by, and that is let your dog win. Every single time, without fail. So, imagine a world, I've got Pooch here, this is Pooch, and we've got the ring, Pooch comes and grabs the ring, and we play tug. And when Pooch wins, it's because I've let go, basically. They've beat me, they've beat my grip, and I've just kind of loosened it, and they've retrieved it from me. And when they do that, I'm going to use my marker word. So if Pooch is pulling, and we're having a nice little tug, after 2 or 3 seconds, Pooch is going to win, and I'm going to go, yes! And that is the premise of any game of tug. Now, the key thing for you is figuring out what's the right kind of tension and resistance to be putting on that game of tug, and that's going to vary from dog to dog. So that's something that you're going to kind of have to experiment a little bit with your Pooch. But basically, let's say you kind of want anything between 2, 3, maybe 4 seconds if your dog's really into tugging of each in particular game. But you want the tug, you want Pooch to win, you want to give your marker word when they do, and what you will very quickly find is that Pooch will start to bring the toy back to you to play that game again. Nobody wants to play a game where you always lose. I say that, even though you're going to always lose in this one, you're not going to care because you're going to see how much your dog is enjoying it, and that's what really matters. Now with tug, there's a few things to remember, as I said at the top there, and that is the movements that you do when you play tug. So ideally what you would like is some quite kind of linear movements. So what I mean by that is if you're the dog, you've got hold of this now, and we're kind of just doing some nice kind of toing and froing as part of that game of tug. What I don't want is loads of yanking, really sharp, harsh movements, none of that. We just want it nice and slow. We just want some nice resistance, and we're just kind of having that nice little bit of tug. I also, if I do want to add movement, it's just got to be nice, slow, side to sides, like this. I don't want any kind of harsh ragging, as I call it, like this. That's not good for your shoulder, and it's certainly not good for Pooch's neck, jaws, or teeth. And that is definitely not something that you want to do with any dog who's in their puppy stage and still got their puppy teeth. So avoid that at all costs, guys. But like I say, you want some nice kind of lateral movement, kind of back and forth. But if you do want some side to side, just make sure it is nice and smooth and slow. If you do have a ragger, so a dog that loves to grab something and just death shake it straight away, fine, don't worry, just don't put any resistance. So I've got hold of it, Pooch comes along, Pooch's first desire is just to rag it, and if they do that, I'm just going to relax my grip and they're just going to pull it straight out of my hand. They might have a little bit of a shake, but very quickly that's going to get boring. Because now there's no value, I'm not involved in the game, you just keep ragging it, it's kind of dull, they will get very bored. However, the minute Pooch does start to give me a lateral pull movement, that's where the fun is. So the more that Pooch steals it away to shake it, no fun. The more Pooch pulls the way I would like them to pull, which is that kind of linear lateral movement, then they get resistance, and that's what's fun. So very quickly, guys, if you do have a dog that is a bit of a shaker and a bit of a ragger, again, no resistance, but if they pull kind of opposite to you, fab, give them that resistance. Even if they do that for a millisecond and then want to rag, that's fine. Nice pull, and then let them rag and away they go. But very quickly you'll find they will pull more and more because that's the fun bit. It's really kind of getting that tug of war going. So that is how we would do tug. So Pooch is pulling, couple of seconds, Pooch beats me, and the minute Pooch beats me, I'm going to say yes, because that's my marker word, and Pooch will love that little buzz of confidence, and they're going to very quickly return toy to me to do that again so they can win. And I won't lie, guys, I get a little bit dramatic with this. I'm not a good actor, but I have been known to fall off sofas, be pulled across the floor, do some really quite cheesy acting when my Pooch wins, because why not? It just all adds to the fun and game of it, and it makes them feel absolutely fab. Brilliant. So guys, now that we've talked about how we would just do tug with one ring, that is the gateway for us to do one of my favourite games with these, which allows us to bring both of the rings into play. And that is a drop or an out. Now what I mean by that is where Pooch has got hold of something in their mouth, in this case it's the puller ring, and what I want them to do is open their mouth and release whatever's in there. And this toy is a great way to help us do that. Because again, because there's two of them, there is no preference to Pooch, because it's me that makes this interesting. It's the interaction with me that makes these plain little purple rings really exciting. So, we're playing tug. Over that time, Pooch has learned to win. Absolutely fab. It's the interaction with us that really makes that game of tug interesting. So then we're going to bring in the two rings. Now, there's a couple of different ways we can do this, and I'm going to talk through the way I do it with my Pooches first, but then I'll give you some others that you can try as well. But I've got one ring, and I'm playing tug with Pooch. Pooch wins. I give my marker word. And now that is not in my grip and it's in Pooch's mouth, I'm going to make this one really exciting. I'm going to move it, I'm going to shake it, I'm going to make this one look like this is where your next bit of fun game is. But all that time I'm watching Pooch really closely. Because what I'm waiting for is Pooch to turn and clock the new ring that I'm shaking that looks really fun and interesting. And they're going to open their mouth. Because guess what? They can't grab this whilst this is in their gob. So they're going to open their mouth and let it fall out, drop it. So the minute their mouth starts to open, I'm going to give that cue. So for me, it's drop. So the minute that mouth starts to open, I'm going to go drop, Pooch lets go, and they come and latch onto this new one. Fab, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And very quickly, I can start to play multiple games of tug. So as that one hits the floor that they've just dropped, we start the game of tug on that one. It gives me a second or two to pick this one up. Pooch wins, and I go, yes. And then I start this one. Pooch looks at me, opens their mouth, and the minute that mouth starts to open, I go, drop. And then they come and latch onto this one. And we have a game of tug, and I pick this one up, and then they win. And then Pooch opens their mouth, and I go, drop. And they come and grab hold of this one, and away we go. Very quickly, over a matter of minutes, I'm going to get 10, 20, 30 drops in there. Now, this is about repetition and learning, guys. If you haven't already, head on over to the Great Paws Gang website, which is greatpawsgang.co.uk. Join the free course that's on there, which is Dog Training Setting Up for Success. And we talk about how dogs learn in there, and repetition is one of those key things. So we're getting lots and lots of repetition in a very short space of time playing this game. Pooch is having a time of their life, and what's happening subconsciously is drop means gob opens and fun stuff happens. So it's in their interest to open their mouth. And that's how we do it. That's how we start to train those drops. Because 9 times out of 10, the only time I want Pooch to drop something really is because they've got something I don't want them to have, and I may be inclined to chase them around the house. That's really exciting and really fun for Pooch. Therefore, they've got no desire to let go or give it up. However, with this, they have. Because when their mouth opens and they drop it, the game starts again. So it's definitely in their interest to learn that opening my mouth is a good thing to do. So that's how we would start to teach that drop or that out or whatever word you want to use as that cue to help Pooch know that opening mouth means that's a good thing and you get good things as a result of that. Right. Okay. Drop. Yes. Drop. Drop. Okay guys, fab. So now that we've talked about how to get your Pooch interested in the game of tug with the puller ring, and also how to do the drop cue with your puller rings, you can then start to bring all of these things together with the addition of some recall and fetch type games. Now to throw these particular rings, it's dead easy. The simplest way is just to put it between 2 of your fingers like this, so you should try and see that, and I just curl them a little bit so it kind of sits in that little part of my hand. I put it over my shoulder and then throw it. And as I throw it, as it comes out, I just let go and this will fly through the air, it will land, it will bounce, and it will start to roll. Now, there's a few good things on why that is really beneficial for Pooch. A lot of dogs do love to chase things. If you've got a dog that loves to chase tennis balls, for example, this is a fab alternative to that. Because when they see that movement and that motion running away from them, a lot of the time it taps into what we call a predatory motor pattern for dogs, and that kind of chase is one of those things. So seeing this bounce off and roll away in the distance, Pooch really wants to go and get it, and then we'll chase after it. Now, when they get it, the other good bonus with these is obviously size appropriate for your dog, but it means that they're not having to kind of pounce or dive or really kind of shove their muzzle towards the floor like they would with something like a tennis ball. Because of the height that this gives you away from the floor, Pooch will actually just grab it and pick it up, and then it can just run back with you. Which is fab. So again, just from a kind of safety element and a little bit of risk reduction in terms of injury, they're absolutely brilliant for that. But what I'm wanting Pooch to learn is that not only going to chase it and grabbing it's a good thing, bringing it back to me is a good thing. Because guess what? If you bring it back to me, we can have a game of tug and we can have those swap games take place. We can do the drops. So you can very quickly start to build up that bringing this back. Because if you remember right back in the tug, it was bringing it back to me that reinitiated the game. So when Pooch is used to seeing this fly away, if they come back to me, guess what? I've got ring number 2 ready. We can do a drop, and then maybe on my 3rd drop, instead of playing tug, what we're going to do, you're going to go and chase it. And you can go and chase it, and you can grab it, and you can run back to me, and we'll have a few more games of tug. You can also then get a little bit creative. You can do some drops and then some flying catches. So for example, I've thrown this, Pooch has run after it, they've grabbed it, they're running back to me, and as they're running towards me, I kind of turn sideways a little bit, hold the ring out, and say drop. Pooch drops it because they know what happens next. I'm going to throw this in the air. And as it throws it in the air at a nice comfortable height for Pooch, they can just come and latch onto it. And you'll see that with Betty Boo very shortly. But again, so this very simple purple ring, 2 of them in a pack, you can start to train so many things. You get those drops, you get the recalls, you get the fetch and retrieve games, you get tugs, and all of these things are fab ways to interact with Pooch. And guess what? It's you that's making it fun. Has very little to do with these guys. These are just a tool to enable it.
Betty, come. Drop.
But yeah, I absolutely love these. They're a great, fun toy to use. But again, when you are not involved with dog playing with these, put them away, out the way, because they will just chew them to bits and there's no fun in that. And again, you want Pooch to realise that it's you and this that makes it fun, not just this on its own. Excellent, guys. So that's it for this video on how to train a drop, how to train tug, how to do some recall training, and how to do some fetch training, all with this one single product, which is the Puller Dog Fitness Tool. Yeah, highly recommend it, guys. It's great fun. Enjoy.
All right.